For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were hailed as Hollywood's golden couple, a union of glamour and grit, of Oscars and chart-topping hits, a storybook romance that seemed immune to the pressures of fame. But behind the red carpets, award ceremonies, and smiling photographs, the reality was far more complicated. After 19 years together, court documents have revealed that Nicole has filed for divorce, and insiders suggest that the years of loyalty, love, and perseverance were ultimately not enough to sustain them. This is the story of a marriage that captivated the world, the pressures they faced, and the quiet unraveling of one of Hollywood's most celebrated relationships. Nicole Mary Kidman was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, in 1967, to Australian parents who were temporarily abroad. Her father, Anthony Kidman, was a clinical psychologist and biochemist, and her mother, Janelle, was a nurse and educator. Though her upbringing was steeped in discipline and ambition, young Nicole was painfully shy. She would blush uncontrollably when called on in class, leaving teachers worried about her confidence. Yet behind that timid exterior lay a vibrant imagination, one that sought refuge in creative expression. Ballet, drama classes, and youth theater became her sanctuary, places where she could explore the emotions she found difficult to express in everyday life. By her teens, Nicole's talent was undeniable. Australia's film industry was flourishing, and she seized every opportunity, from television movies to cult classics like the 1983 thriller BMX Bandits. It wasn't just her porcelain features or statuesque frame that caught the eye, it was the depth of emotion she brought to each role, a hint of the actress she was destined to become. By the late 1980s, Hollywood had noticed, and her rise was meteoric. Amid this ascent, Nicole met Tom Cruise, her first great love. They married in 1990, becoming one of Hollywood's most photographed couples. But behind the glamour, the marriage was fraught. Scientology, Cruise's religion, cast a long shadow, and when the marriage ended in 2001, Nicole not only lost her husband but also primary custody of her 2 adopted children, Isabella and Connor. Friends revealed that the emotional scars from that separation were profound. For a woman who had longed for family, it was a wound that shaped much of her future choices. When she later met Keith Urban, Nicole was determined to rebuild the dream of stability, love, and family that had eluded her. Across the Tasman Sea, Keith Lionel Urban was also forging a path defined by both talent and turbulence. Born in Whangarei, New Zealand, in 1967, he moved with his family to Queensland, Australia, as a child. His father, Bob, owned a convenience store but had a deep passion for country music, encouraging Keith to pick up the guitar. By age 6, Keith was performing publicly, channeling his restless energy into music. But talent alone could not shield him from life's challenges. His family life was marked by tension and financial struggles, and by his teens, Keith's restless personality led him to small bar performances and talent shows, building his image as a brooding country outsider with a rock star's edge. Music became his escape, his identity, and eventually his salvation, but it came with demons. Alcohol and substance experimentation entered the picture early, and fame only intensified the pressures he faced. By the late 1990s, Keith had found success in Nashville with his self-titled American debut, capturing hearts with his guitar skills, emotional voice, and undeniable stage presence. Yet the personal battles never fully dissipated. By the time he met Nicole in 2005, he was at a crossroads, yearning for stability, yet still grappling with the chaotic patterns that had defined much of his life. On the surface, Nicole and Keith's lives seemed worlds apart, Hollywood prestige versus Nashville grit, but what truly drew them together was shared experience. Both had known heartbreak, both carried emotional baggage, and both were searching for something real. Nicole had emerged from her divorce stronger, with an Academy Award for the Hours and a reputation as one of the finest actresses of her generation. Keith was a rising star, hungry for recognition but battling the temptations that came with fame. Their paths crossed at the Day USA Gala in Los Angeles in 2005, a celebration of Australians working in Hollywood. At first, Nicole thought Keith seemed polite but distant. He didn't call her for months, nearly derailing what would become one of Hollywood's most talked-about romances. When he finally reached out, their connection was undeniable. By May, they were publicly photographed together, and by the end of the year, Nicole spoke of him as the man who had swept her off her feet. Their romance moved quickly. By June 2006, just over a year after meeting, they married in a lavish ceremony at Sydney's Cardinal Soretti Memorial Chapel. Nicole wore a dramatic Balenciaga gown, and Keith's long hair and troubadour charm completed the fairy tale tableau. Their wedding, attended by Hollywood royalty and country music stars, seemed like the perfect culmination of two troubled pasts finally finding harmony. But perfection was fleeting. Just 4 months after the wedding, Keith entered rehab for alcohol abuse. For Nicole, this was a cruel echo of her past. She had hoped to build a life free from the turmoil that had defined her first marriage. Yet she remained steadfast, visiting him in rehab and refusing to allow public speculation to shake her resolve. This loyalty, born of love and perhaps the desire to heal what she couldn't in the past, defined much of their marriage. Despite these early challenges, the couple cultivated a public image of enduring romance. Nicole balanced a career that spanned blockbuster films and acclaimed performances like Rabbit Hole, while Keith solidified his position as a country music superstar, touring extensively and winning multiple Grammy Awards. They appeared as a loving unit, often photographed with their children at airports or events, a testament to a marriage that seemed unbreakable. Behind the scenes, however, the pressures were relentless. Keith's touring schedule meant long periods away from home, and Nicole's film work often took her abroad. Raising daughters Sunday Rose, born 2008, and Faith Margaret, born 2010, added another layer of responsibility. Nicole, scarred by her own family experiences, emphasized routine and stability. Keith embraced the role of fun parent, more lenient and spontaneous. While their daughters adored both parents, these differences sometimes created tension, with Nicole allegedly feeling undermined and Keith occasionally resentful of criticism. The dynamic of their marriage was a delicate balance between love and exhaustion, passion and stability. Nicole's protective instincts and desire for security often clashed with Keith's need for freedom and autonomy. Their differences, manageable in public appearances, quietly eroded intimacy over time. By the early 2020s, speculation about the marriage began to surface more frequently. Tabloids hinted at arguments, time apart, and lingering struggles with Keith's sobriety. Both Nicole and Keith publicly denied any issues, maintaining appearances as a model couple. But insiders noted that Nicole's vigilance and Keith's desire for independence had created a silent tension that could not be ignored. Friends described Nicole as growing weary of carrying the emotional weight of their marriage, while Keith reportedly felt stifled by expectations. They remained committed to the facade, appearing affectionate at events even as cracks deepened behind closed doors. The balance that had once held them together was tipping toward fragility. In September 2025, Nicole filed for divorce in Davidson County, Tennessee, citing irreconcilable differences. The decision, though heartbreaking, was deliberate and measured. Nicole sought primary custody of their daughters, Sunday and Faith, ensuring stability for them amid the upheaval. Both parties waived spousal and child support, reflecting years of independent financial management. Keith's reaction, however, was more public. In his first performance post-announcement, he appeared without his wedding ring and altered lyrics in 2 signature songs, signaling both personal anguish and the erasure of shared history. He removed The Fighter from his setlist, a song long associated with their relationship, while acknowledging the pain and passion that had shaped his life and career. Fans watched as the emotional roller coaster unfolded live, a raw display of heartbreak and introspection. Nicole, meanwhile, retreated into privacy and family life, focusing on her daughters and career. Public appearances were carefully measured, her composure masking the profound emotional toll of ending a nearly 20-year marriage. For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban maintained a marriage that inspired admiration and envy. Their story was one of resilience, loyalty, and the hope that love could overcome adversity. But as with many relationships, the very intensity that created magic also created vulnerability. Nicole's steadfastness and Keith's passion carried them through crises, yet ultimately, it could not withstand the weight of unaligned needs and the relentless pressures of fame. Their divorce, though quietly executed, marked the end of a chapter defined by love, struggle, and dedication. Nicole continues to prioritize her daughters and career, while Keith channels his emotions into music, sharing a version of his inner life with fans on stage. The love story that once seemed invincible has reached its natural conclusion, not in scandal, but in the quiet acknowledgement that sometimes, love alone is not enough. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage was a testament to the complexity of love under the scrutiny of fame. Two extraordinary individuals, shaped by past traumas, carried each other for nearly 2 decades, building a life that was as aspirational as it was fragile. Their story reminds us that even the brightest fairy tales can falter, that resilience has limits, and that personal happiness sometimes requires difficult choices. The world watched as they built their golden narrative, and now, as the curtain falls on this chapter, we are left with a story of love, sacrifice, and the courage to choose oneself when the price of staying becomes too high.